afternoon, good morning, good evening, folks. Your man, all the way, George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Folks, can you believe it? We're 5 days away from Christmas and another week from a new year. It seemed like it. I remember when I was a kid, Christmas took forever to come. Now it's just around the corner. Ah, So, folks, we have here a guest. We have returned a guest who now we can call her our IFBB Pro. Welcome back, the lovely Mrs. Montana Frey. As you know, just about a couple weeks ago, she got a pro card in women's physique division at the North American the national championships. She was also in the overall. In my opinion, I think she should have won it. That's just my opinion. But we're going to talk to her and get her feeling now and what she's been up to since we last time we had an interview and what are plans now. She has that IFBB Pro stick to her name. So welcome back, Montana.
Thank you for having me.
Not a problem, not a problem. I enjoy having you ladies on here. So what's the feeling now, boss? Now you are IFBB Pro.
The feeling hasn't really set in yet. We took my pro card and we made it our Christmas tree topper in the house, and it's still there. So, but we just I feel like I've been chasing this for such a long time, and when I talk about how long, or people have asked me how long I've been bodybuilding for, I was like, I've been doing it since I was 16 years old. And so they're like, oh, it's been that. I haven't been chasing a pro card since I was 16. No, but I've been probably chasing it for maybe 4 years now. And so it's been a long and a lot of evolutions of change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's been interesting.
When you're 16, you're still wet behind the ears and breast smell like Similac. So
yeah,
like I said,
had no business being on a stage.
Your 16 was my 30 something. I most definitely know that. So but I think that's the thing that everybody gets into sport. They do it because it's a passion sport. As I talked about before, bodybuilding is not as popular as compared to other sports. And you've been an athlete before in your past. And it's just a different level when compared to other sports.
Right. And it's also you, especially for women's bodybuilding divisions, you have to genuinely be passionate about the sport, because the only rewarding and fulfillment you get is from your show wins and winning your pro card. There's what do you have going on after that? You go for your pro debut and chase after the Olympia title, and that's one of the few that's where it goes for us. There's nothing else after that, and you have to really just genuinely be passionate about it, because it's not how men's divisions are. So it's
Yeah, because I say this often: the men's division gets a lot more attention. Once you hit to pro level, there's more sponsorship, money opportunities. For the women, unless your divisions like maybe wellness or bikini, maybe even figure somewhat, but it's a lot harder for you more bigger women who have more aesthetically more muscle compared to those divisions.
Right. It's at the end of the day, it is about the appeal to the eye and what's gonna sell, and it's understanding, but also women in physique and bodybuilding, we're a bunch of badass individuals. And what's crazy is a lot of us work full-time jobs, and on top of that manage a prep, and on top of that compete at pro levels, or compete at national levels to win pro cards. And it's no one really talks about that. And I just this past week I've just been giggling at seeing some of these documentaries of pro bodybuilders, the men's divisions, and they're this is all discipline, it's hard. I'm like, dog, you're paid to eat food and go to the gym. All these women that are professionals that are winning titles, they're working full-time jobs, going to the gym, managing their families, and still winning. What's your excuse? That's where I go. When I see those videos, I'm it's not really you're not doing anything that crazy that we aren't doing, So that was my little tidbit on that for seeing these.
I would love to do something like that. Do a documentary for some women who are bodybuilders like yourself and others who have jobs, who have families, have responsibilities. I got a friend. Her name is Tina. Shout out to Tina. Her husband is an IB Pro male bodybuilder. He's retired now. My big brother, Big Keith, he just had knee surgery just a couple of days ago. Shout out to my big brother, Mr. Big Keith Williams. And she's balancing not only, being a wife, taking care of a home, having two children in that home, and also having a job and a career, and still finding time to compete because she did a couple of shows this year. And that's the thing about this. You women don't, even though his truth is, y'all make up nearly the larger numbers of the IFBB. Even though you got the men's divisions, you got to count from the. I'm going from the top to the bottom. You have women's bodybuilding, you have physique, you have figure, you have fitness, bikini, wellness, in the new division. Excuse me, fit model. Here's the thing about saying that. I have nothing against the competitors. I interviewed two ladies who competed for fit model. One of them just got a pro card about a couple months back. I just
Yeah.
feel like you bring me a division that's a throwback to a division that's going to evolve to be like that same division.
Right. And I think it's like they're just trying to make it have a little more diversity and inclusion. So it's just like another another source of like cash flow for the sport, which is understandable, but like I don't foresee like the Miss Olympia for fit body or fit model like staying that. Like she's probably gonna progress into something else if she continues training, you know? So it's like I think it's like a gateway sport or like a gateway division to other divisions for other athletes to get into.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I'm
what.
very like I see both sides of it, but it's also like if you've been in this for a long time, just like I have, like you see where like the big picture's coming from to keep the traction going for the sport.
Yeah, I know. This year we in Zeke lost a few shows with bodybuilding, lost a few shows, and now with the fit model division coming in, some promoters want to make room for it, but that's it. It's a business. It's about making money. So going back to now, I know last year you did the amateur Olympia. What happened there? What was
That was like the worst show I've ever like I was it was the most like embarrassing moment for me. Like nothing on like my coach or anything. It was just like I I got with Justin at 8 weeks out and we were just literally throwing darts on a board and hoping that like things would stick. And I peaked the day before and I just looked so like watery and washed out on stage that I was like, man, this is like it was just bad. I was having a lot of issues because of like my workload and stuff like that. I was having issues with binge eating. Like there was so many things that were like wrong with like that tail end of prep after like we had our interview, and then it just like spiraled on from there. And then like life hit me really hard after I moved to Texas to like just have like a little fresh restart, and then we like had a little bit of trouble in the beginning when I first moved out here, and I was like couch surfing a little bit until I got on my feet. And then once when I went back into welding like full time, and things were going good. And like my dad had been battling cancer. I had found that out like after at the Olympia at the amateur. Like my mom had like told me like what was wrong with him, and he like finished chemo, and like my parents like just kept it from us because they didn't want me knowing about it or worrying about it. And so when we spent Thanksgiving together, like we like celebrated the holiday and like talked more about like what it was like, what his condition was like, and how bad it was. And then when we got to, I want to say around like February, March, um, it was just like it was getting really bad for him. And so I like told my work what was going on. I went back home to like because he was in the ICU, and then I came back, and then I told my like work what was going on, and they handed me my layoff slip. No, like they let me go. Yeah. So they fired me, and then like a week so like that after they handed me my layoff slip, the next day my dad was back in the ICU, and it was like I used that last check, went back home, and like said goodbye to my dad, and then came back, and I was like unemployed for like 2 months, and just like Uber Eatsing and just trying to get by, and like the whole time like I'm telling my coach like what's going on and stuff, and we were just doing the bare minimum, bare essentials. Like he's helping me, like making sure that I'm like getting like the stuff that I need for the meantime, and like we were just like trying to keep the lights on in the apartment, and it was like we were dealing with shitty weather. Like there's a lot of things going on, and like my fiance, like she was very supportive and very helpful, and like had my like helped me through like a lot of this stuff. And then when I like picked back up into work in the summertime, that's when we like started prep. Like so, like that whole time, my whole off season time wasn't really an off season. It was like fight for survival kind of thing, and like grieve the loss of your parent, and like plan his like funeral, and like get him cremated. It was not expected at all. Like life hit me really hard, and then like we started working again, and then things got better. We started prep, and then like changes started happening like for the best, like one after another. And then I was able to like I got to a point where I was like, okay, I finished my job in North Texas, and then I decided to like take some time off. I bought a house down in San Antonio, so like me and my fiance could like live closer together. And so we got a house together, and we finished out prep here, and then like I started working during prep, like the hard parts of prep. We started working, and I was outside. Like we were working outside in the San Antonio heat
In Texas,
in Texas.
see, North Carolina, our heat is a little bit more humidity. We don't get as hot compared to
Oh,
Texas.
it
Y'all
gets
be out there,
hot.
y'all be shaking hands with the devil.
Yeah, and it was like, and like just a little bit of what I do at work is like I'm a welding apprentice. So, but when I got to San Antonio, they hired me out as like a journeyman welder. But when I got out to the job site, I was expecting to just go out and like weld and not like have to do a lot of like legwork, because they told me that's what was happening.
Mhm.
But once when my boss, like the foreman out there was like, "Oh, you're an apprentice? Oh, bet." So then he's like, "Yeah, we don't care that you could like you're welding, like you're an apprentice. So we're gonna do X, Y, and Z, and you're gonna just work you like a dog, basically." So it's like 10 hours a day, like just like busting my butt, and then waking up, fasted cardio before I even go to work, and working all day. So like Justin and I had to like manage, manipulate, and all like my food, my training, and all that stuff around work, which like he was nervous about because what I experienced last time. But I was like, dog, it's a 410 schedule. It's manageable. It's not that bad. And like we were shooting from the hip with a 7/12 schedule. So like 90-hour work weeks prepping for amateur O. And then that was like, dude, we can handle 40 hours. It's not bad. Like, it's not that bad. Like, I was fortunate enough to spend like my summer indoors working in air conditioning, like tube bending and instrumentation work. So, like, that was like the hard parts of like the big chunks of prep were like somewhat easier. But like that little last like 8 weeks was a little rough to say the least. But I took 2 weeks off of work before like we went up to Irving, so it smoothed itself over, to say the
Well,
least.
my condolences to the loss of your father. It's been 5 years since the passing of my mother, and our parents. They're the people that, especially for us boys, our mothers are our first woman we ever love. A boy's best friend is his mother. For you girls, your father, that's the man that you set the example of what you know about other men in your life. And it's tough to lose that person that close to you. I know him probably by his age. I tell you, if I can tell you, give you a big hug, sweetheart, everything's gonna be all right. You'll be fine. Now, this life will test you. There'll be times you will often feel like you are broken, but but God don't put no more than He can bear. And sometimes you'll bend, but you'll never break. So, folks,
Absolutely.
we'll do this while I got Montana here, and she just told this great story. I'm trying not to cry. I try to,
Yeah, no crying.
no crying in bodybuilding and interviews. I'm a man. I'm a man. So let's see. So we're gonna do this, folks. We'll jump into Montana's IG. You want to follow her, check her out, shout her out. Support her. Reach out with genuine interest. But my saying, guys, it's a nice, lovely young lady. And I know you freaks out there. You see the video, you see the picture, you see how she looks. Wow. But don't understand circumstances. I'm gonna treat like she's one of my nieces, or if she was my daughter. If you send her some weird shit, we're gonna have a problem. You will see a big black man at your door, knock and say, "What you say to my niece?" So, folks, we're gonna jump into her social media. If you want to follow Montana and reach out support, be genuine about it. So, here we are. And this is from some pictures here from the where you put card. You're right beside a lady who just interviewed recently. She's also a Bad Rep sponsored athlete. That's Roxy George. And when you
Roxy
take
was amazing, like talking to her backstage, and like we got to reach out to each other, and she was like super cool. And she's like, I'm just so excited to like meet other like WPT like tall girls, because like Roxy and I are like, I think an inch difference in height. But I was like, finally, like I got to see some of the girls like that are in my class and like that are my height. Like the whole week we were just like, I know like we were watching each other's stories, like just like gunning for each other. But it was like super great sportsmanship, and like we had a lot of like fun like backstage and chatting it up.
Yeah, and here you look amazing. I mean, your conditioning is top notch. Justin Jacoby, he's been really working with. I think just not you, I think it was yourself, Hayden. I think Casey
Casey
and
and Kelly Larkin.
Kelly
Yeah, we
Larkin.
had a yeah, we had a pretty stacked team, and I was hoping that we would go 4 for 4. Like Casey could have gotten her pro card, but she was in a pretty stacked class, so I was really bummed out for her.
Yeah, and this year's was really stacked because the last time I interviewed a lady who got a pro card women's bodybuilding at nationals, that was Natalie Miller. It was only I think 6 women, so they had to
Yeah,
smush it down to one class that year, and she won the overall for women's bodybuilding because, like I said again, she was the only it was the only class they had.
yeah,
Yeah, here's this with your lovely fiance. What's her name?
Kirsten.
How long y'all been together now?
We've been together. This is gonna sound bad, but we've been together for like 9 months. But girls like move fast, so
So it's a do sometimes. We move fast too, but sometimes getting engaged.
yeah. When you know,
But
you know. So like you're just you're not gonna wait, you know.
yeah, and when did y'all two meet?
Um, we met like through social media, through mutual friends, and then like just finally decided to like meet up with each other.
It's cool. That's good. Yeah, that's great. And here she is with Sarah Vilgas. As you know, right now there's some little
I
controversy.
was so starstruck when I got to see her, and like she like walked around the corner. She's like, "Hey, like congratulations!" I was like, like I was like I was gigging it, and my mom was like, is that one of the Miss Olympias?" I was like, "Yes, mom." She's like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Mom, this is 4-time Miss O, Sarah Vegas," and she's like, "Oh, okay." Like,
Well, your mom like that said, "Oh, that's sweet, sweetheart," because you know what, it's sweet because that's the event. It's good that she was there for you and supporting her little girl. And what was critique from the judges at the show? Because I know they said Tyler was the
I
head judges.
I didn't like talk to the judges. Like that was like my bad, but I just know that I like when I was chatting with Sarah, she was saying that like my legs could be my backside could be a little more dense, and I'd say like my hamstrings need to be brought up more, and my back needs to be brought up more. Like I was like conditioned, and so like But again, like I didn't really have an off season, so we took like the what we had, like we're seeing at the progress right here, and like we took that and we turned it into like just get as conditioned and lean as possible.
Hmm. Kind of like they just really work on your best qualities, and you're still working on the other parts you need to, like especially your back, because the back is the one thing. Like when I felt that Kelly was going to get her pro card. Honestly, I felt like she should have been overall too, because she had more density in her back, more size, more width.
Yeah,
She
she looked really good, and it was like her conditioning was like another like she has pro level conditioning. Like I feel like she would be competitive like if she could prep and do another show at pro level stage and be ready.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the list came out just about earlier this month for IB Post. The first show out for the season is going to be the Triple O, and that's in April. This year they will not have women's bodybuilding at New York Pro, and then there won't be any more women's bodybuilding until Toronto, and then there's some shows overseas. Here's just one thing. This is from the final pose down at the for women's physique at the internationals. You also Courtney Rennick, and Dylan Crenshaw, and this is pretty cool. I mean, let me see if we can play a little bit of it.
Quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. Face front. Front double bicep. Side chest. Back double bicep.
Might mute it a little bit because YouTube's always on shit about music and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
this is very impressive. I mean, here,
We all
what was
like
that?
are displaying like our different qualities that we have. And I'd say like I thought that this lineup was like a good representation for women's physique for like every height and every size, shape and size. Because you
Yeah.
have like but again, like I am not gonna like I think I'd say the only thing that like I don't care that like I lost overall or anything. Like it's all on the judges, you know. But when you look at the comments from this post and everyone's saying like Dylan and I were intimidating Courtney, like no, bro, this is a freaking pose down. Like
Yeah.
you guys don't understand. Like this is what bodybuilding is all about. Like what we're doing is like we're competing against each other and we're laughing, smiling, having a time. And like, I wish Courtney just would have joined in on it and like had
Yeah.
fun, you know?
Yeah.
Like, don't like isolate yourself, but yes, display yourself and pose down, but you're posing down against everyone else, not just like to the judges. Like, it's like, yes, have class, poise, all that, but also like, don't be afraid to like flex a little because like that's what this like division's all about.
Yeah, because that's the fun part about the post downs. I think sometimes with
Yeah.
the physique competitors, they don't really get into it. Like one thing that I think I love the most with you and dealing with doing the crab pose is most muscular. And as those sweet smells, that's our favorite pose. We get to see the muscles. We just love that part. And the thing is, you have to really also it's about competition, but also being teaming. Here she is with her lovely mother. I mean, I'm gonna tell you this. This other son say, "You're just as pretty as your mama."
Yeah, I'm like my mom's like little clone.
That's the thing is, yeah. But I know she's proud of you. She was there to support you and to stand by you.
She's been
This
to
is
every single show that I've competed in. That's my grandma. That's my mom's mom.
well, she's just as pretty as her mama too. So
Yeah.
that's something y'all gotta get away from genetics here.
Yeah,
But
we don't go far from genetics at all.
yeah, and we all know Courtney has served our country in the United States Marine Corps. It was just that long ago. We had the 255th
50th.
birthday, 50th birthday of the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Hoorah, Leathernecks! So what did you do on your day? Because that was your day.
I went to work.
Come on, they could have
I,
given you a day off.
no, they didn't give us the day off, but I got like paid time. So it was like we got paid a little extra for working on a holiday. So I was like,
Yeah,
I'll take that. A little
yeah.
happier check, you know?
Yeah. And then it was Veterans Day, so you got to go out and you got to eat for free, a discount or whatever.
For free, I was in prep. I couldn't eat for free.
Oh, I forgot. Well, next time you're around, you can eat free next
Yeah,
time. So
no,
yeah,
next year I'll probably still be in off season, so
yeah.
I'll be able to eat. I'll do like if I'm still like in off season mode, I'm gonna like tell Justin, I'm like, bro, we're gonna do like Veterans Day, like day cheat day, and all the free food we get, and then go have a workout. I'll
Yeah. That's
document it.
you. Like I said, with anybody who serves our country, I never say thank you for your service because you're not providing a service. You're making a sacrifice of your time, your life. You are going to places and doing things that most people don't have the courage to do. So I just say I appreciate the sacrifice you made on behalf of me as a citizen. So anyway, now the feeling of being IFB Pro. All the time, all the work, the diet, the stuff you went through. What's on your mind? What you thinking?
Um, I just want to have bigger legs now. And like I'm like literally this whole week has been like, okay, off season's gonna go like be executed like so much better this time because like I have a house, like I'm not going anywhere. There's like a sense of stability and like my routine is like I know what my work schedule's like and like I'm also like still in school as an apprentice, so like I have everything like mapped out in my brain with like the layout of the structure, but also it's like I'm trying to like balance more of okay, like I am a bodybuilder, but I also am a fiance. I also have a partner. I have to like take care of our relationship. Like that has to come back into being like priority one and like shifting like my priorities around a little bit more because like I felt like the last 2 years has been like I just want to win my pro card. I will sacrifice anything and everything. I don't care whatever it takes. Now that like we've achieved that, okay, let's like pull back the reins. We can be a human. We don't have to be so goal oriented. Like it's not going anywhere. The stage isn't going anywhere. Live life, be present, and that's like those are conversations that like we've been having and talking about and stuff. It's not I'm not like giving up on bodybuilding because I got a pro debut I want to make in 2027. But in the meantime, it's like it's having that balance of like I still have a career that has nothing to do with bodybuilding. Like that I have to be successful in because being successful in my career is what pays for me to do bodybuilding, pays for my home, like pays for everything. So unless like some random day out of the blue you get offered some like sweet sexy contract from a company like in bodybuilding, they're like, yeah, here, come do like if that happens, sure, I'll walk away from what I got going on here. But I don't see that happening because that's just not the reality for women's bodybuilders. So
Mhm. That's the sad part about this because you got to think
yeah.
about it. This is a sport where a friend of mine. This is something funny. A friend of mine sent me this because I don't know. I think the interview. His name is David. I got to meet David a while back when I went to Tampa for the Tampa Bay Pro, and we hanging out. And he sent me this. He was on the road traveling. He did a couple. He went to a couple shows. He went to Olympia a couple months ago. He went to the Steve Carr show in Vegas, and he was also at another show. And he was traveling for something else because he has a job. He works in the school system. And he sent me this. It was a picture. I think he was in a motel. He was watching TV, and it showed you know how when they show what's on the list for what's on what show, ESPN, whatever channel it was showing championship bubblegum blowing. Now, this tells me something that a sport like bodybuilding doesn't get as much attention. And if it did, I think where we can make a living for many competitors where, okay, I don't have to work this job for the rest of my life. I have this that takes care of my bills and pay for everything I need, But that thing is bodybuilding is such an extreme sport. It's a fringe sport. I talk about how the stuff y'all ladies got to go through. Now the guys, they go through their stuff because all they got to do is put on a pair of banana hammocks, board shorts, and some tan. You ladies, you have to not only bring in muscle and conditioning, but also a presentation of femininity and muscularity. And it's not very, you know, it's not very lucrative for y'all to do this as a full-time
No.
career. You could be the lucky few. A couple of days ago, my girlfriend just had a birthday. Shout out to Andrea Shaw. She's just turned 42 years old. I just love her. I can't help myself. But
We love
she's
her.
yes, I do. I think she's she's just amazing.
I got to
But
meet her at the Olympia after she won her 6th title, and like we were chatting it up, and she's like, when we took a picture together, and like she's like, I want to see, and like looks at me, she's like, girl, you're not that far off. I was like, chill.
yeah, the same thing. It takes time because this sport is a lot of growing and developing you have to do. You know, it's not as easy if you compare it to other sports. We have here some comments here. Some guys popping in here. Shout out to my man here, Black Panther. He's saying, "Hi, George. Hi, brother. How you doing?" Also, he says, "Montana is the greatest." Oh, thank you, brother. She appreciates that. And also, he says this. He says, "Female bodybuilders must have side hustle incomes to cover their expenses." Well, that side hustle is good too. But the thing is, it's just, if one thing I say this, sponsorship can help. If,
Oh yeah,
if,
100%.
if you can have someone who can cover, wait a minute. Oh, something
Where'd you
happened.
go?
Whoa, well, excuse me for a second. Something's stuck on my computer right now. If you can have some kind of assistance where it covers the cost of your travel, the cost of your suits, um, the expenses that comes with this sport, you know.
Yeah, I agree. And like I never wanted to like look into sponsorships as an amateur athlete because it's like that puts too much pressure on yourself to deliver. Um, and I literally like as soon as I walked off this like stage, went over to a booth from a company that I had been authentic aminos. I had ordered from them my entire prep because my coach and the owner like they're pretty tight and like talked to them. He's like, oh yeah, I remember like sending you orders like and I like we just like went back and forth and then it just made me like an affiliate like this past week and like now I get like my peptides that I order like routinely at like discounted, which is like it's a big help because I've ordered a lot of peptides through him. So it's like I finally have like been able to be like, okay, I'm comfortable with like advertising more supplements now. Like I've made it as the IFBB pro. I feel comfortable being like, hey, these are the supplements I use. Here's what I do, but I'm not trying to me personally, like I don't want to like be coaching. I don't want to sell people programs. I don't want to do any of that because it's just mentally I'm barely like I'm on my phone as maybe like once or twice a week like posting, but like I haven't been this past year because of like all the stuff and like just explained to you. But like typically I'm like posting 1 or 2 times and I'm trying to, but it's my work schedule. Like I'm literally like in a welding booth, hood down, producing like a lot of pieces that need to be sent out and like doing a lot of fabrication. So like time is money for me. And I just like, I don't want to like, I don't feel like I have that like luxury or capacity to like sell myself more on social media like I would want to, but also at the same time, I want to like keep that like mystery. Like, what is she doing to do all that stuff? Keep it a mystery. Keep everyone
Yeah.
on their toes.
You do what you feel comfortable for you. Not everybody is on social media, savvy, whatever. With me, I being a content maker, I have to be, as I quote from my master Raza, go to demon's head, beware of my surroundings of all time, your mistress. But it can be both a tool and a weapon. Like tomorrow, I'm gonna have a discussion with some people about how sometimes you have to deal with harassment on social media, from being people being just plain rude and crude, people being a little nasty, guys seeing weird shit because I was talking with a friend of mine. His wife got sent a video by a guy, punching the munchkin, and come on,
Yeah.
guys, come on, have some common sense. Here we got his shots on man. Black Panther Studio says no jobs are guaranteed. Always have something of your own. Entrepreneurship is the key. Thing is, you have to have a good idea to become an entrepreneur. Sometimes, it's hard to be your own boss. Also, he says, shout out to him again. He says this. He says, Texas, USA, and North Carolina, USA are the best places for bodybuilding shows. I would, there is a show coming up, which is a Charlotte Pro. For one, I think it's probably one of the biggest pro shows we have in the area. They last year dropped Women's Physique. No, actually dropped Figure, but it looks like they might bring back and Women's Physique. I don't know the details of it all, but wait to see that. And also he says women bodybuilding and women's physique are better than women's wellness. Some of those girls, I've seen some of these girls. Whoa.
It's like some wellness girls, if they were to just like do upper body and like they would shit on so many like that's like my opinion. Like there's some wellness girls that I'm like, y'all would literally give some of these pro show girls like a run for their money. But hey, if you wanna train legs and like it's again like they just want to fit the appeal. So it's what sells. Like it's those niches that are in the sport that's gonna give you that most traction and attention. And again, women's physique and women's bodybuilding doesn't get that much traction or attention. Like you have to be genuinely diehard passionate about it and like want to push yourself past those like thresholds. And not everybody wants to do that, and not everybody wants to like put themselves in that most like uncomfortable position physically to like go through that and be more muscular. It's not everyone's goal. So I do agree that like women's physique and women's bodybuilding is like it's the heartbeat of how it all started. And like let's not forget about it.
Yeah. Well, for me, I would have to go with women's bodybuilding because it was for that division. The others would be born. It was like, went for that, fitness wouldn't start it. Then, figure wouldn't start for fitness. And then because of, the standards of women's bodybuilding, they wouldn't have women's physique. Wellness and bikini, those were more like brought in, but because of the influence of the sport, they kind of evolved. And like I said again, I've seen some figure, particularly one lady I follow. She looks like if she's put on a little bit more size in her shoulders, a little more, those heavy, thick muscle bellies, more definition in the back. She could probably give some of those ladies a run for the money, but not my girl, because she is, as I say this, she is perfect. She's like the fifth element, she comes in great shit. So like again, now you have a plan. So your plan is going to be for you in 2027 is, I don't have a plan. I'm just a dog chasing cars.
Yeah, the plan is 2027, but like I told Justin this morning, I was like, I'm not gonna make it like it's completely up to you. I'm gonna push as hard as I can. We're gonna have a long off season, and when you think that I'm ready for my pro debut, like that's when we'll knock it out. Because I just won my pro card, and that jump from pro level, like I don't have like pro level conditioning or size for women's physique. And if I were to go to do a pro show like at the end of the year or this year, I would not at all look ready. So it's just we have to grow, and we're just going to try to bring our best package to stage, and also leave myself room to make improvements after a pro debut.
Mm-hmm. Here's my thing is, I think your physique is truthfully, because I said this when I did my, if you haven't seen it, I did the little, we did a review of the Nationals, me and
I watched it.
Yeah, your physique is more of the aesthetic of women's physique. It's pulling away from what it was supposed to be. It's supposed to be less of more size, more about conditioning, more athletic built. As I said, I compared you to Sharonica Hinton, who I had the pleasure of meeting when I was in Tampa. She looks more like she could have been Miss Olympia physique, but we all know, they want you girls to have bigger this, bigger that. But the thing is, I'm seeing girls right now in WPD that could be doing women's bodybuilding. One lady who she was women's physique, but she switched over recently and went up to women's bodybuilding. That was Melissa Tyke, and now she stepped back from competing anymore. She has those aesthetics. She just got to bring in a little bit of conditioning, especially when you're, like I said, she's been to Olympia twice as a physique competitor, never cracked the top 10. Come in, you get in the top 10. Now you got to think about it. Who's in the top? You got Andrea, you have Ashley, you have Angela, and you have Lavinia, and you have Alcione. It could switch off because Alcione just saw recently she just had surgery for a hernia. She may not compete next year. We don't know. I would say like this: it's about what you bring. And I look at you. I look at you, Montana. You remind me of a lady at an interview I got to meet, Sheena Olick. She's probably about your height, a little taller, but also has a great line, great physique, a beautiful body, and that's what you have. I don't know. The judges just keep changing the criteria every other year, and women's bodybuilding is the ceiling when it comes to it. But if you look at like you said, you with Sarah, and you look at her and Natalia, they're like different fractions of the same division.
Right. And it's like, also, like, I have to keep in mind that I am 5'8", and there's a lot of filling out to do. So like, I know, like, if I were to put on, like Justin and I talked about, like, if we put on like 7 pounds of tissue, like, you wouldn't really notice that much of difference, That's I'm like, well, if you're saying 7, I want 12. Like, if you're saying 12, I want 20, and I will step on stage then. Like, because I'm just a taller, longer frame. Like, I have long, like, hip to femur. That's long distance. If you we go back and look at that freaking pose down for overall, you see my legs are long, and they still can fill out. There's so much more to fill out. My arms are long. You from the side, you could tell there doesn't look like much. And then if I do a side chest, oh, there's a bicep there. There's a tricep there. There's just so much for me to build onto my frame. But it's still no matter how much muscle I put on, it's still gonna look streamlined. It's still gonna look athletic. It's still gonna look more physique. That's just I don't think I no matter how much bigger I would get, I highly doubt that I would be like women's bodybuilding material because of just my frame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Unless I wanted to push it hard, but I'm still trying to also maintain my femininity and feminine features. So it's which one would you want? I'd rather look crazy as hell in women's physique than push myself too far gone in women's bodybuilding. So
basically like this, you want to be Stallone, but you don't want to be Schwarzenegger. You want that, how much difference they are. I got a friend, her name is, I just mentioned earlier, Tina. She's also in bodybuilding. She's 5'9". This is her. This is a show she did last year, and she is amazing. And I always shout out Tina. And it's about each competitor's level, what they bring. Like I said, you're much taller. It does take a lot more time for y'all girls to fill out. Some women, because of height, it doesn't take one example is Michaela Aycock. She's barely 5 feet tall, and she's just crazy condition. She put on a lot of size, and especially you're still a young competitor. You're still growing and developing, and it takes that time. Some ladies start hitting their peak to about, I would say, late 30s, early 40s, something like that.
Yeah.
And
I just don't want to burn. I don't want to burn myself out because, these women that are in the pro division, they are in their late 30s. They are up there. And I'm not saying they're old. I'm saying they have that muscle maturity that I haven't even scratched at yet, and I've been doing this since they started doing it. We've all, in theory, we all started at the same time, around the same time, 10, 12 years ago. And we've been going at different, I've obviously been at a different pace because I'm a little fucking, little
That's all right. That's all right.
I'm a little bit. I'm a little baby.
Yeah, I'm just you still like I said earlier, you're still wet behind the ears and breath smell like Similac.
Yes, and like I'm 28 now, but like and Dylan, 23, like her and I messaged back and forth, and she's like, I just need to get my conditioning down. I was like, honestly, like you're like everything you have is perfect. Conditioning comes with time, and I'm telling you that with experience. Do not get in your head, and like please do not like drive yourself into the dirt trying to get to that. It comes every time. It was your first show, first show, second show wins a pro card. Like, be for real. Like, imagine like when you have an off season and then you go into your body is going to remember what it was like getting that condition, and it's going to come back even better. Like, it takes a lot of time. Like, I've done 14 shows, so I've been through 14 peak weeks. So, like, yeah, like my conditioning would be different from your conditioning, but your size literally like is right there. Like, so now it's just practicing getting that conditioning, which shouldn't like it will be easier for you every time you get down to it and do it, you know.
Yeah.
And I also mentioned the same thing to Casey because she's 22. I was like, dude, this is your second season, your fourth show. It's like your body's going to just keep getting better. There's no getting worse. I mean, I looked awful at Amateur Olympia, and I was just like, I hope no one ever shares those stage photos, which they did on Hardcore Bodybuilding as my profile. I was like, no, use the national photos. Oh my God.
I know he's pretty cool dude, Claudio. I follow him. Maybe I reach out to him, and he might change it. But yeah, it takes time. And when I was 28, I was working 2 jobs. And trying to make a living. And at 23, and I was still living with my mom still. 23 and 22, you're still young. You're still practically, like I said, it's just been about a month ago. I turned 51, and look at that. Y'all still babies in my mindset because you're still
Yeah.
growing, developing. It takes that time. Like again, you look at someone like Andrea who just turned 42. You look at someone like ladies I've interviewed like Sherry Priami. You look at Sheena. You look at Sheila Olick. Those ladies, it took them time, and they actually started out in WPD, and then eventually, when their body hit that level where sometimes it's just say, you know what, I need to go where I fit better, where I can grow and get the opportunity to advance. And that's about it. That's how I talk about how I think some competitors sit back and say, you know what, because you did both women's physique and women's bodybuilding at the show, and that was when I saw that how many women were there. I was so surprised because the last couple of years the numbers were kind of falling. I remember the year Chelsea won. There was like at least 3 ladies that competed for the overall, and she became your world champion. But and one young lady, she was very impressive. I think she should have did figure instead of doing bodybuilding. That is Natalie Hayes.
Natalie. Yeah. She was backstage asking me a lot of questions, and I told her, I was like, I've seen a lot of her posts, and it's like very honorable to be Natty and competing at this level. But at the same time, have respect for competing against enhanced athletes because we do just as much as natural athletes do, but we also are doing a lot too. Like it's no different. We just want to push the envelope and grow. Our bodies reach a point where like you reach your natural peak where you can't grow anymore or put on enough tissue. Like you'll notice like professional natural bodybuilders. I've followed a couple of them, and like for example, for the men's division, men's classic physique, the natural disaster. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Kendall. He has like a crazy physique, and he puts on like he's put on crazy size. He's always had crazy size, but it's always like conditioning that always like falls short for him. So it's like you can only go so far, like naturally, like to be competitive. I truly think that like he's like one of the few natural athletes. There's a couple of them that have a shot in making it naturally to the Olympia, but that's like a small percentage. And that's where when I was 25 years old and I like made that decision to switch, I was like, I want to be on the Olympia stage one day. So why not just level out the playing field? Like if I'm doing everything right, I'm doing my blood work, I'm doing have the right coaching. It took me a while to get to the right coach, mind you, and the trial and error. But now that I'm with a good coach, I know him and I can one day make it to the Olympia stage. We're just plugging and playing, and
Yeah.
routine blood work, staying on top of everything. So when I was talking to her, she was asking me all these questions, is it just genetics for you? Asking me about my midsection. I was like, if you were to look back on what I looked like competing as a natural athlete, I got up to I had no problem getting up to 215 pounds naturally and cutting down. Had no problem. It was I couldn't reach that level of conditioning, and my training your midsection isn't that comes with training at a normal muscle group. When we talked about it a little bit, and I was and I honestly think that you would fit better in heels here than you would have won your pro card if she would have put on heels and just done figure. It's she has that, and but in the natural divisions, she's everything they are looking for bodybuilding, because the federation she's done, I grew up in with Bob and Tina Bell for WMBF, and that's the look that they love for women's bodybuilding. Small, streamlined, muscular, very, 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 very conditioned. They're not too keen on people being big because I'm you do steroids.
That's the accusation, because but the thing is, steroids, is we all talking about, is it's only help you for your recovery. You quite a few gym bros that take the shit and they don't look like, you look at guys like Derek Lungford or Big Romney, or Samson Dua. They just don't follow the same regimen and the plan of the diet, of the training, And with her, like I said, she's still young. I think maybe that should be something she should talk with a coach, because you're going to be up against women who are going to be 3 times to 4 times bigger than you. They're going to have conditioning, I think you and Hayden have the best set of abs. I love a nice set of abs. You can wash your laundry on the abs.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is it takes that time. I would say whoever is working with her, say, you know what, we need to step back and think.
I think she's self-coached.
That's the hard part. That means she's her own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why sometimes you have to maybe have somebody who can give you that outside eye that you might need. They could tell you that, what. Or,
honestly, in my opinion, she would have done so much better if her posing was better. That's just me. She has amazing conditioning. She knew how to pose with a little more confidence and had that stage presence. She would have placed way better in physique, I think, instead of I think she would have done better. But also she's taller, so we're the same height. So seeing her in that light, and she was in lightweights for bodybuilding, and that was crazy. I was yeah, girl, it's good on you that you're doing this, but also she kind of shot herself in the foot with not doing figure.
I honestly believe that too. I think she does it, but we get off the subject of her. But we hope her all the best in the future. There's also, the NPC, the IFBB and NPC is trying to get more natural shows. The Pittsburgh Pro, they do have a natural pro qualifier. If I was her, do that show, and I don't think they'll have women's bodybuilding for the natural. It's gonna be physique, and she do figure. You'll probably get your pro card. So one thing I ask you ladies, and especially I'm a fat man, and I know you like chicken salad still.
I love my chicken salad.
Chicken salad. You like that? So what was that after that long prep? And and you and the family got to what was that thing you got to eat?
So I had 3 items. One of my teammates made me carrot cake cupcakes, because that's I always have those after a show. So, and then I had a box of them. She's started her own startup bakery and brought me a box of them. So some of the athletes. I saw Dylan, I saw Natalie. Like I saw some of the girls as I'm walking out. I'm like, here's a cupcake. Here, you want a pro card? Here's your cupcake. Here you go. Here you go. Like if I saw a girl holding a pro card as we're walking out, and I had the thing of cupcakes, so I wouldn't eat them all. Like I'm just like, here's a cupcake. Here's a cupcake. Here you go. Here you go. And like cheers the cupcake and eat one and walk away. Like just like a random hi bye. Here's a cupcake and just like keep going. We went to Five Guys and I got a double bacon cheeseburger with a large Cajun fry. Deleted those. And then my mom, I always ask her like if I'm with her to make me enchiladas.
Oh.
And so they're my grandma's recipe. So I've always obsessed over them, and like I didn't really understand why. It was because like I grew up eating like my grandma's cooking, and so my mom always made those enchiladas, or my grandma would always make them, like growing up. So like now every time with my mom, like please make me enchiladas, like please. And so I made sure like we were staying somewhere where she can like had a kitchen to make them. And so like all my team like came over, and my mom made like a couple pans of enchiladas. I'm just like passing out enchiladas to everybody.
Yeah,
We're eating enchiladas.
That's so sweet. I mean, that's one thing I miss about my mom, her cooking. You know, my mom used to, especially in the holidays, my mom used to burn like that. And I know I saw you were hanging out with some of the other girls, you, Casey, Alina, and also Hayden. And y'all were, I think it was like it looked like you
We went to honky tonk.
It looked like kind of like a buff Coyote Ugly. I said, "Who's the buff chick on stage? I got her."
Yeah, it was like a random like let's mog everyone in the bar. Screw it. And Eleni was like so excited. She's like, come on. Let's get on the bar right now. We're gonna take our shirts off. I was like, we're what?
I know that there's some guys saying like, "Hey, wow." It's like, you know, it's like, you know, you're in Texas, like that's beef. I want to say, can I build the beef? I like that the blonde one there. Can I have that tall one right there and that short one there?
100% grass-fed beef up on stage right now.
That's good that you had fun and you enjoyed yourself, and then out of that you got your pro card. And
it was a good one.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, this was probably you went through a lot last year, and then to come out the other side triumphant. You should be proud of yourself.
I am, and like now I'm just like, okay, let's take it all in and enjoy and be present, because like the hardest goal achievement of my life that I had been so focused, hyper fixated on. Like I got that. We did that. So now we can just be here and like enjoy life. And like now work on the next goal. But I'm not so hyper fixated on like I know I'm going to get there. Like I did the hard part. Now I know I'm going to get to the next step, and all that time in between, we're just going to work on being undeniable to get to that point. Because we're here and now we're trying to get up to here. And it's like what we're doing in between is like everything I did in this last prep times 10, but we have more stability now. So it's like, there's going to be no problem getting from here to here. Might be like a little to get there, but you know, that was just like my little visual diagram.
That's the thing is, it takes time. You know, you don't want to rush it. You don't want to, like I said, you're still a young competitor. You want to bring yourself out. And you know what? The Olympia, as you know, they changed it. They pushed it up. I think it's going to be September next year. They even moved the venue. And, you know, you were there at the Olympia, and you saw those are the top level competitors. And
yes,
that was your goal to get there. Maybe someday in the future. Maybe you don't have to be next year or the year after next. It could be whenever you find the right show, the right timing. You bring in your best condition, your best shape. You work in with Justin. Justin, like I said, I just met a lady, one of your stablemates, April Cosimoto. She looks amazing. You know, he's really bringing some ladies up here.
He doesn't miss with his muscular girls. He doesn't, and he genuinely has like a soft spot for women's physique and bodybuilding. So like because he like cares so much about it, because he was a 212 IFBB pro, and because he cares so much about that, and he has like-minded athletes that love it just as much, I think it like makes that dynamic so much more special.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have a good coach relationship with a coach. Some people, like sometimes the coach will just don't understand, especially with women, the factors, genetics, biology, stuff like that. Just give you this plan here. We use this, we use this, use that. And then, you be saying, why didn't it work? Because you didn't understand what you're dealing with. Everybody's different. Everybody's built the same. Men and women are different, and that's good. He understands what he needs to do to bring you along, and you're taking your time. Like again, this is not, as I was so often, this is not a race, it's a marathon. You want to last as long as you can. You don't want to get burnt out. Just saw recently a young man who was a bodybuilder who passed away. You don't. It's just there's so many factors to this sport.
Right. And there is. And it's so like all I know is like when we make my pro debut is like I want to be ready enough for my pro debut to also be that same season we have a shot at the Olympia title. It's not going to be a one and done. We're probably going to do multiple shows. So I have to I have to do my best work between now and then. So that's why we're taking so much time. Like Amanda Santos did the same thing. She won her pro card back in 2023. Her pro debut was literally a year and a half later, and was compared next to Andrea Shaw, had like her shot for the Olympia title, like in her rookie season. That's amazing. And same thing with like Elizabeth. She had
Moline.
she had a shorter like turnaround from winning her pro card, but she still like had a very competitive pro debut, and like still is like she's gonna work on. She's not like that woman's like she's a unit. Like that's an unstoppable woman right there. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see like every time I see her like post check-ins and I like check in with her and talk to her, it's like night and day difference from when the three of us took a picture together at Nationals in 2023 to where we're at now. And it's like, hey girl, you finally got your pro card. I was like, I know, last one in the group, but like I'm just like their little cheerleader. I'm like, go bodybuilders, go! I wish I was as big as you.
Well, that's the same thing with Casey. Casey, I think
Yeah,
she's there just the right show, right time. And I have the pleasure of interviewing both Elizabeth and Amanda. I know she was qualified, but she took a step back for what reason? Maybe she, whatever. I hope she, we talk. I hope she can bring in a better condition. I think she has a great look to her. Elizabeth has a great look. She was top 5. You had at least you beat out Hunter Henderson, who's in the top 10 in Olympia to get in the top 5, and you up there. What just 3 people from LA who I got to be also when I was in Tampa. Ashley
oh
Jones.
Ashley, my
Yeah,
girl.
yeah. I call her my second girlfriend because she's silly. But you take your time. Don't rush it. You don't want to end up like some competitors who you kind of burnt out or wear out with doing the sport. It's gonna be here whenever you're ready.
Yeah, but it's also like staying in that like bodybuilding shape year round and working towards it and not falling off. And like that's what I struggled with like in my off season last year, like getting ready for this show. And so once when like I had the discussions with Justin and like told him, and we started like implementing like peptides to help. And like now I haven't had like I used to have like really bad eating disorders and like binge eating episodes, and I haven't had one since I started my prep. Like maybe I'll eat like a cookie here and there, but like so few and far between. And like I would tell on myself, just like you look fine. Like we had cheat meals every week, so like I was doing good. So it was like my body was like finally like getting with the program. And so now that we're just trying to keep up that tempo of like we're hitting the reverse and we're going to start bringing back cheat meals to like just give it a couple more days, like because I got really sick after nationals. Like I got the norovirus. Me and Casey both. We got the nationals plague. Like so many people got sick after nationals, and like I like barely like ate food and like trained this week. But like took my check-ins this morning, and like I was only 3 pounds or 4 pounds up from my stage weight. And usually, like last year, I was like 30 pounds up from my stage weight a week after the show. Abs gone, like totally like not in shape at all, and like just bloated and watery. So like I'm pretty proud of myself about like the progress we've made in like the post show from last year to this year, and like just being able to like maintain a professionalism.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're proud of yourself. The thing is, that's the thing about bodybuilding. You have to be both your own support and your own promoter. It's good you have people like your fiance and your mom and your rest of your family in your corner, because most people don't have that luxury of it. I mean, when you get to the sport, people don't understand it. People are very prejudiced against this. I've talked to ladies tell me sometimes to deal with people's comments, whatever. But this is about you. This is something for you. And to quote my man Bernie Mac, boy, if people don't like you, fuck 'em.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, folks, we're not gonna hold Montana much too longer. You know, she took the time out to talk with me. She's a busy young lady. She has a great future, and as the other guy would say, she also has a great body too. And I'm gonna tell you this before I leave you, Montana. You are beautiful. I'm sorry about him, man. He gets excited to talk to you. So, so I'm gonna say like this. What would you want out of your future for bodybuilding?
I want to be top 3 at Olympia, so be a heavy contender for women's physique.
That's where it's at. Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
I know that's a heavy order, because it's like now it's everyone in the world. But I feel like for me, I'm not going to be like, I'm going to be next Miss Olympia. No, that I'm going to be a little more realistic. I would be happy at top 3. And that's my goal. Like, get to the Olympia, that would be cool. But place top 3, like, that's like the standard I'm setting for myself. And I feel like with the right amount of time that I'll get there. It's not going to happen in my first season. I know that. But my goal for my first season is to make it to the Olympia. So with that being said, like that's where my alignment is going in women's bodybuilding and women's physique.
Yeah, I know an interview lady. Her name, if you know her, Marika Jones. She did something that was, I would say, astonishing. She did a show in Tupelo, Mississippi. Then about 6 or 7 hours later, she did next to Texas Pro. She didn't get a qualification, but she's been there before. And the thing is, it takes determination, it takes persistence, it takes that knowing that, you know what, I know what I'm doing and I can do it. Just I got to be focused. Things gonna sidetrack you every now and then. But if it doesn't hinder you, doesn't stop you from getting that goal, you're gonna do it. It's getting the top 3 is gonna be tough, especially if you still have, remember Sarah, she was kind of like in the bottom for a long time. She climbed up and then she beat Shanique Grant for the title. And now she has to start, well, she's second in the world. And there's many other ladies who kind of started off and then climbed up and then boom. You could get there eventually. But like I say, it's going to take a good time, the right, and you got someone like Justin in your corner who's helping you out reach that goal.
And that's why I can confidently say that. Like, we can, like, there's a lot of physique girls on our team. And I would love nothing more than for all of us to go to Olympia together one season. And that's like, I'm like trying to like manifest and foresee that, like, but I know that like we have a great team, and like we have the like foundation for all of us to have that pro level quality, or like that quality to take it to Olympia and like really show the world like what the Jacoby effect is all about. So I'm like a firm believer in it. So I just really think that like in due time, like I do see myself at top 3 level, like Olympia level. But again, I'm not saying that's my first like ever season, or that's like it's not something that's far out of reach for me. And I'm trying to set my life up to where I can like train for that. So that's like, I know people are like, yeah, you don't, hey, shoot for the stars. Ain't like you miss, you might land up somewhere really cool. So
Yeah, like this. Don't let the sky be your limit. You know,
yeah,
keep going.
Sky. Yeah,
Yeah, keep going as hard. So, folks, we'd like to thank Montana for her time. We wish y'all best of luck. Congratulations. Welcome to the
thank you so
IFBB.
much.
Yeah, again, you know my saying, you never have to thank me. That's why I do this. That's why I give y'all ladies the opportunity to share your stories that people need to understand who you are as a person, as a competitor, as an athlete. You have served your country. You're doing something that most people wouldn't have the same dedication to do because it's not as easy. You know, you got to make a lot of sacrifices, and those sacrifices are investments into a goal. And this is one of the investments that kind of paid off for you. So, anyway, you have anybody you want to shout out before you let you go?
I honestly would just want to shout out like my fiance because she's literally had to go through all this with me. My coach and my team. Um, Everyone knows that nationals is like Eleni, Justin, Kelly, Jess, and like our whole team. Like my parents, my mom, and sister. They were like my glam team. But I don't know if they're gonna watch this, but I'm still gonna give them a shout out.
Well, I see the link. They can watch it later. Your mom probably, that's my baby. That's
Yeah.
my baby. Yeah, I used to remember this. Sometimes me and my mom be talking. I'd be like, Mom, I used to say, Mom, yeah, man, Mama, yeah, man. She said, Nah, you my baby. I said, No, man, Mama. I said, but that's a good thing that you have people like your sister and your mom and your fiance and Justin and all the other ladies that you know and people you've met that support you. Like again, this sport can really be a lot. There's the mental, the physical factors of it, the financial factors of it. You know, most people wouldn't want to get into sport, understanding what's involved with it, the work, the time, the investment, and not much return seen it other than just getting a pro card. But I will say this: anybody out there, I say to you guys out there, if you're interested in sponsor and you understand who she is and you have a plan to work with her and you promote her as an athlete, maybe possibly help her in the future where she gets to that level to the IFBB Olympian level. Reach out and genuine interest. Don't be weird. Don't be sycophant. Don't be sending some weird stuff. I say this often. You get more with a silk glove than with an iron fist. I know what you're doing with that iron fist. So, so we want to thank Montana. Congratulations
Thank you
and
so
all the
much.
best of luck. All the best of luck to you. And when's the wedding?
It's we have a date. It's for July 17th, 2027. So
Oh, yeah. One thing, if I can speak for your father, I wish, baby, congratulations to you. I would love to hold your hand and walk you down the aisle because, as a man, we want our children to be happy. Like I said, I don't have children of my own, but I have nieces and nephews, and some of them are practically raised. But if I was your father's sweetheart, I'd be happy and proud of you.
thank you.
Making an old man want to cry, little girl. Okay,
Sorry.
okay. Don't be sorry, girl. Don't be sorry. Be careful. Anyway, folks, if you want to follow Montana, the links are here in the description. Check her out. Reach out to her with interest. Wish her all the best of luck. Can't wait to see what she can bring 2027. There's again out there who are interested in promoting these ladies. Reach out and genuine interest. Okay. Anyway, folks, we'd like to again shout out to our man Black Panther was here. Everybody who watched this video, follow me, follow us, subscribe, support the women of bodybuilding. And we smell our way George Page, aka the Emperor of. If you're about to talk, don't like, subscribe. Good night, good luck, God bless, and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Bah humbug.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.